Parents M50, F50 want to be in our lives after kicking me F24 out at 17 for refusing to get an abortion. Should I agree? Basically the title. I got pregnant at 17, my boyfriend dumped me, I told my parents and they told me that I needed to get an abortion. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. So when I refused, I came home from school like a week after that discussion and the locks had been changed and there was a suitcase full of my things at the front door. I knocked on the door. Both of my parents were home but they just stood at the window and said, "You're on your own now." To make a super long story as short as possible, I went to the library and started researching. I found a low cost of living state and began searching for apartments and a job. I stayed with my friend Lila 18F for about a month while I planned everything out. Dropped out of school, got a job lined up and thanked my lucky stars that I had opened a credit card when I was 16 to start building credit. My mom was my co-signer. I don't know if she just forgot about this or let me keep it after she dropped me. Lila's dad was nice enough to buy me a beater car. I drove to my new state and began working. I got my GED pretty quickly since I only had a little bit left to go at it. By this I mean that I already knew much of the content in the GED exam, so I didn't have much to study. I lived in my car for nearly 7 months trying to save up and waiting to turn 18, took showers at a gym. Life was hard but at least I didn't need to sleep with the car on because it was warm where I moved. The job that I got was street maintenance, so I was working with hot asphalt and tar all day in the hot sun. It was awful. By the time my daughter was born I qualified for a low-cost apartment through a state program that supplemented me and I at least had somewhere to bring my baby home to. By some miracle I saw a job posting working as a street maintenance tech for the city, so it would be a government job. I applied and by some other miracle I got it. Suddenly I had paid time off, medical coverage, retirement, everything. They even had a program for parents through the health insurance that would cover a huge portion of child care. It took way more out of my deductions on my paycheck but so much cheaper than paying out of pocket. I climbed the ladder at my city. It helps that so many boomers are retiring. I am now a technical specialist but I'm gunning for crew lead for streets maintenance department. The city paid for me to get my Class A CDL, so even if I somehow didn't make it here I could get basically any labor job out there. CDLs are a golden ticket. The city has paid for every certification that I have. It truly was a miracle from God that I saw the entry-level position opening all those years ago. I make good money, I am secure, I am so tired but I am so fulfilled. It's been 7 years since I was kicked out of my parents' home and I haven't spoken to them since then. I had changed my number and deactivated all forms of social media. My daughter is so smart, flourishing, and such a cool person to hang out with. Being her mom is the best thing in the world, and she is somehow wise beyond her years and yet so innocent and playful. I was blessed with her, truly. I met an amazing man, Derek 28M. That also works for the city, but a different department. We've been together for 4 years and he recently proposed. Now to my problems. Recently, Lila came to visit me and to meet my fiancé face to face. We are in a townhouse now close to the beach, and she wanted a beach getaway vacation for her vlog. We had so much fun. She took lots of pictures and videos of us all. We showed her around the city and I pointed out projects that I had completed. Yes, I'm that person. It was so much fun catching up with her after like 5 years of not seeing each other in person. I had no idea that she would post photos and videos of my daughter, fiancé, and I thought the photos and videos of us were for her, while the photos and videos of the stuff we did was for her blog. She texted me a week after she went home that my parents saw her blog after she shared it on her Facebook and saw the photos and videos of us all and now they want to get back in contact. She said that my parents told her that they were really mad at me back then but that they never expected that I would vanish. And they are pissed that I moved so far away from them. I guess they assumed I was somewhere nearby? I don't know how to respond to this. I am so upset with Lila for posting pictures and videos of me and my daughter to the internet without my permission, especially knowing that I don't have any social media. The violation is a lot for me, but I also owe her and her parents my and my daughter's life, so I don't know what to do about that. I also don't know what to do about my parents. They want to talk to me. I don't think that I really want to talk to them. On one hand I want to rub it in their faces that I succeeded despite them. On the other, I think nothing will hurt more in the world than me never speaking to them again, their only child. I'm torn between petty revenge and nuclear revenge. But then I think about my daughter. She doesn't have much family. She has the friends that I've made here that she calls aunties, uncles, and Derek's parents that she recently started calling grandma and grandpa on her own. Other than that she has no one. This has always been so sad to me. I am torn between hating my parents and loving my daughter more than I hate them. Opening the door to my parents would open the door to the rest of the family, her real aunts and uncles and cousins and grandparents. I have always been worried that the reason she is like a little adult is because she is always around adults. She has friends at school obviously, but her younger years it really was just the two of us. I don't know if isolating her from her family is the right thing to do. I know that I should love her more than I hate my parents, but opening that door builds such a rage inside of me that I don't know what to do with. I'd credit. What should I do? Too long didn't read. Parents kicked me out at 17 for not having an abortion. I picked myself up by my bootstraps and built a life without their help and haven't talked to them since. Now they want to talk. I don't want to, but I also want what's best for my daughter. Edit. Holy shit, you guys. Thank you all so much for all of the support, kind words and advice. I'm at work right now, but I will read everything when I get home. I really don't think it's possible for me to respond to everyone. I did not expect the explosion when I opened my phone. Thank you so much. Heart, update. So holy smokes, this a lot to take in. Seriously, thank you all so much for your words of encouragement and advice. It's really nice to read. I don't have the time to respond and update tonight, so I will just write this update for now. To address a few questions I saw. What about the rest of my family? Well, I'm worried that getting back in contact with any of them, they will pressure me to speak to my parents when I'm not ready, or maybe even plan a mini surprise intervention and trap me somewhere with them unexpectedly. Do I have evidence for this? Honestly, no. However, it is something that I am paranoid about. Perhaps I've read too many Reddit stories. Did any of them look for me at all? No idea. I'm sure my parents told some wild version of events, or maybe they have been pretending they know where I am. Who knows? Have my parents been looking for me? I rarely speak to Lila about my parents, but about 6 months after I left, my parents reached out to Lila asking about me. They assumed that I was still with her. She told them that I had gotten a job and moved out to be closer to my work, which is true. I asked that she not disclose my location or any information about me. Eventually she told them that I had cut her off too, so that they wouldn't pester her for any more information, and I was totally okay with that. By then I was 18, and it's legal to disappear. The link to her blog on her Facebook proved that she lied, so I guess when they contacted her they were pretty pissed about being lied to, which I'm sure colored how they spoke to her the rest of the conversation. Why did I assume the photos Lila took wouldn't go on social media? This is honestly just me living under a rock apparently. Lila is a mini influencer, nothing crazy, but her life is certainly her content and she makes money this way. I don't know why I assumed that it was going to just be photos and videos of activities we did and not the direct photos and videos of our faces. I just did, and that's my fault. I guess because I personally have no social media, I'm not in the habit of taking photos and videos and posting them to the internet. I like to make yearly albums with them that I keep in the living room like a grandma lol. I asked Lila to take the photos of my daughter down at least. She apologized and said that she had my parents blocked on her social media, so she isn't sure who was connected to her that was able to show my parents. It is what it is. She's still my best friend. I've forgiven her, but I did ban her from taking any photos or videos for content at my wedding this summer. Is this an anti-abortion post? Lamau. I am pro-choice. Abortion just wasn't my personal choice. Totally cool with anyone that made a different decision, but I personally couldn't. I think that I was half in denial of the whole thing, and abortion would make it real. Like a whole baby wouldn't? Either way, I don't care what other people do with their bodies, and I personally wouldn't change my decision if I could go back in time. My daughter is cool as hell. Where could I possibly live that is low cost of living and warm? I'm not going to give specifics on where I live. All I will say is that I live in one of the lower southeastern states. Anyways, a lot of people agree that getting back in contact with my parents isn't worth it. They aren't going to teach my daughter any good life lessons, and worst of all, what if they take credit for my hard work? I do agree with all of that. I also agree that they do not deserve my sympathy or my presence. The comments really made me sit and think about why I was struggling with contacting my parents when the clear answer seems to be no. This is embarrassing, but really what it came down to was the little fantasy that I've always held onto during traffic or in the shower, where I confront my parents for what they did and have a whole soap opera speech showing them what I've achieved and how they mean nothing to me and saying I don't need you. You're on your own now, then mic drop. Dramatic, I know. The longer I sat on it, I realized that there was never really any response in my little fantasy from my parents. It was always just me venting. So I decided that there is a very real way that I can do that, and it's with the letter that some of you guys suggested. I'll write a letter and keep it to the facts, explain the struggles more in depth than I did here, because it obviously was not sunshine and rainbows for a long time. I'll explain at the end of it that I'm not ready for any kind of contact, but if I ever am ready I will reach out to them in my time. I will read only a single letter in response if they choose to send one, but I will burn every letter they send after that, so they better be wise about what they wish to say. I really am so angry. I'm nauseous, I'm so enraged. So many things that I've done in my life without them, I did it motivated by two things: spite for them and love for my daughter. It's been a few years since I've done things from spite though, and I actually thought that perhaps I was over it. It was just buried, I guess, because hearing them through Lila lit a fire in me so hot that it was hard to focus at work. But in my moments of calm, I know that I don't want to burn the bridge completely down, but I don't want to install any boards back in right now either. I want to leave it as it is, a charred frame. I really appreciate everyone's time and mental energy to give me some words of advice and encouragement, some rando on the internet. If they send a letter back, I'll update on my page if there is anything worth sharing. Thank you so much everyone. Heart, why are you so sure that the parents who kicked you out at 17 would be a positive force in your daughter's life? Her early life was what it was, being in contact now doesn't change that. And these are just more adults to interact with. Recently, Lila came to visit me and to meet my fiancé face to face. We are in a townhouse now close to the beach, and she wanted a beach getaway vacation for her vlog. We had so much fun. She took lots of pictures and videos of us all. We showed her around the city and I pointed out projects that I had completed. Yes, I'm that person. It was so much fun catching up with her after like 5 years of not seeing each other in person. I had no idea that she would post photos and videos of my daughter, fiancé, and I thought the photos and videos of us were for her, while the photos and videos of the stuff we did was for her blog. You are allowed to be mad at your friend, even if she was a help to you in your early life. To be fair, it sounds like it was clear that she was going to post about the trip on her blog, but it was not okay for her to post pics of you and your family without permission. Certainly not to her FB if she knew your parents were connected to her there. And it's okay for you to ask her to take them down now, if she hasn't already. If she's that good a friend, she would have done so already and apologized profusely. Opening the door to my parents would open the door to the rest of the family, her real aunts and uncles and cousins and grandparents. So none of your other family members have been in touch either? Everyone just straight up let your parents abandon you and didn't do anything to help? And don't discount the importance of created found family, the ones who chose to be by your side. She said that my parents told her that they were really mad at me back then, but that they never expected that I would vanish, and they are pissed that I moved so far away from them. So they are not sorry, have no regrets, are just annoyed that you somehow inconvenienced them by moving away when they threw you out? These people can go suck eggs.